it is such a unique concept in its inception that you would get folks together who were really passionate about vehicles. You would have a great venue. You would have world-class design elements, perfectly drawn, decreasing radius turns and hidden apexes, fast straights, all of these things. Oh, and by the way, then you're going to have an exceptional culinary experience, a great restaurant. Um, all of it combined 20-ish minutes from the Miami City Center. I mean, sounds like a pretty good proposition to me.
It's incredible. I think it all starts with that. We like to say around here that we're a resort first. We happen to be anchored by a race course that you see over my shoulder active right now. But our business model is a lot closer to a traditional country club model, but instead of a golf course, we have the tracks. Again, in the early days, people would either take existing courses, and existing courses were built to entertain a completely different group. As I just mentioned, the typical large event model. But for a large event model, you needed ingress and egress for large amounts of people. You had traffic concerns. You had sound concerns impacting neighbors because you had a lot of cars out there. And typically they were, full blown race cars and straight pipes and that kind of thing. And those key element, and you needed huge tracks with big areas for grandstands and large parking spaces. And those assumptions, which turned out to not exactly be relevant to our business, forced a series of decisions that then in a cycle affected the business. So once you say, oh, I need these giant spaces because that's what we do, well, then you have to find a large space. Well, then you get further away from the city. And the further away from the city you get, the less casual social attendance you have. So for us, the location is absolutely critical, but that location dictates a completely different usage pattern than a traditional racetrack who's added a scheduled access club to it. I don't know that there are very many traditional courses in the US left that don't have some element of a private club bolted on. Very different business model. It's actually one of the places I started. One of the first clubs I worked with was up in Florida as well, but in northern Palm Beach County at a facility that was then called Moroso Motorsports Park, and we had the Palm Beach Driving Club. But it was a scheduled access club. We would say, here's a block of time. If you join our club, you can attend within these windows. But the big fundamental difference is what we call an attendance at whim club, which is what we have in several others in the US. And that's a lot closer to that golf club model, which is attend when you want. And once you go there, then you start talking about the convenience. What amazes me about our club, and I think you'll see this evolve and other clubs will catch on to this, is, when I was at other clubs, nobody is driving 2.5 hours, 3 hours out of a major city network to stop by, see their friends, have a hamburger, talk about cars, fill up with fuel and drive home. But if it's 20, 30 minutes away, we have a huge amount of attendees who come to the club when they're not registered for a driving session. And that, I think, is one of those critical drivers that changes the utilization patterns of motorsports country clubs and will affect all of us in the future.
The twists and turns of everything that you've gone through just in these last, I know you've been with the group 7 years, but 5 years or so. Tell me what's changed the most in that time that maybe you didn't even anticipate.
People's willingness to engage friends, family, and business associates in motorsports activities, provided it's incredibly convenient. And frankly, compared to my history in motorsport, short attention span. The ability to host short duration events that include an element of either socialization or business meeting, an element of motorsport, and an element of food and beverage, and combining those things in a format that's digestible. That's really what shocked and surprised me the most. The amount of, we call them here boutique events. They're typically smaller groups and have some direct member affiliation. The amount of those events that we're conducting annually, it continues to grow and it continues to surprise me. And it brings me joy to see people who, motorsport and being involved in motorsport is one of those unique hobbies that you find, there are hobbies that people participate in, and then there are hobbies that people participate in but use to define themselves. Somebody who casually plays golf doesn't in social situations define themselves as a golfer, but somebody who drives in Porsche Club of America they're a lawyer by day, but they drive it. They will regularly define themselves as a race car driver. So, what is it about motorsport that engenders such a level of passion that people use it to define themselves? And if you make it accessible and easy, those same people have a desire and a willingness to share this with friends and family and associates. And, that's one of the areas that really surprised me, the twist and the turn of that. You said it exactly right. We focused on elements of the course design itself and trying to make sure that we put in corners that taught these techniques and those techniques. And I thought those were the twists and turns, but you nailed it. It was the social utilization that really surprised me and continues to.